everybody, welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to talk about Indonesia foreign policy in the Presiden Soekarno era. In this presentation we have 4 sections. The first is Nova Arianti, second is Fitri Ramadhani, the third is Febian Sapitra, and the fourth is Bunga Lestari. And check this out.
The history of Soekarno appointment as president. Soekarno was born at Blitar on June 6, 1901. His father, Raden Sukimi Sosrotihardo, was a Javanese and worked as a teacher assistant at the People's School in Singaraja, Bali. His mother is named Ida Ayu Nyomanrai, of Balinese aristocracy from Buleleng, Bali. Soekarno the first time became famous when he became a member of the Surabaya Jongjava in 1915. Young Soekarno founded the Algimen Club in Bandung in 1926, which years later became the Indonesian National Party. As a result of his action, Soekarno was arrested by the Netherlands in 1929 and was released again in 1931. In July 1932, Soekarno joined the Indonesian Party, which was a subsidiary of the Indonesian Party, which resulted in a return arrest in August 1933 and exile to Flores. In 1938 until 1942, Soekarno was exiled to the province of Bengkulu until the Japanese occupation ended in 1942. In 1943, Soekarno was invited and Muhammad Hatta and Ki Bagus Hadikusumo to Japan at the receive an imperial star for Emperor Hirohito himself. Soekarno, along with national figures, began of preparation themselves before the proclamation of independence of the Republic of Indonesia. After the meeting of the Indonesian Independence Preparatory Agency for Investigation, the small committee consisting of 9 people, or the 9 committee, which produced the Jakarta Charter, and the Indonesian Independent Preparatory Committee. Soekarno-Hatta established Indonesia and Pancasila and 1945 Constitution. After meeting with Marshal Terauchi in Dalat, Vietnam, Rengas Dengklok happened on August 16, 1945. Soekarno and Muhammad Hatta were persuaded by the youth to go to the Rengas Dengklok Defenders Army Dormitory. Persuasive youth include Sukarni, Wikana, Singgih, and Khairul Saleh. Young people demanded Soekarno and Hatta immediately proclaim independence from the Republic of Indonesia. Because there is a power proclamation in Indonesia. This is because the Japanese have surrendered and the Allied forces have not yet arrived. However, Soekarno-Hatta and the Prime Minister refused to allow for the clarity of the Japanese surrender. Another reason for growth is that the Soekarno marked the right moment for the independence of the Republic of Indonesia, as a choice for independence on August 17, 1945. It coincided with the month of Ramadan, the Muslim holy moon believed to be the first Muslim revelation to the Prophet Muhammad SAW, the Quran. In August 18, 1945, Soekarno and Hatta were appointed by PPKI to be the President and Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia. In August 29, 1945, the appointment to be President and Vice President was confirmed by KNIP.
Nasakom was the President Soekarno idea, which met as the unifying idea of the Indonesian people with the aim of continuing the unfinished Indonesian revolution based on Pancasila. Nasakom is a religious nationalism and a communism. The idea of NASACOM and the process of inserting the NASACOM mission, or we call it NASACOMization, were issued during the Demokrasi Terpimpin contained in a speech known as the Yusdek Manipul. When Demokrasi Terpimpin period emerged, Presiden Soekarno emerged as a leader figure who was the center of power to reflect the concept of terpimpin in the name of Demokrasi Terpimpin. According to him, Demokrasi Terpimpin is democracy that is led, and a Presiden Soekarno as the center of power that must be followed by the people. So all the ideas that he put out must be followed and made into a shared ideology, including his NASACOM ideology. NASACOM is the value of Pancasila with its reform as Trisila and then as Ekasila. So, who's again NASACOM means he's again Pancasila. NASACOMizasi is the effort to apply the concept of NASACOM in all fields to all levels of society in Indonesia, or in other words, that NASACOMizasi is a making things that are made to be NASACOM. Presiden Soekarno wanted his ideology to be used as one of the ideology of Indonesian people, namely by equating the position of NASACOM with the Pancasila. To achieve his goals, he tried to insert NASACOM mission in all movement, parties, mass organization, and also in the armed force of the Republic of Indonesia, especially the army, which aims as a tool to balance the strength of the army, TNI Angkatan Darat, during the Demokrasi Terpimpin. One form of NASACOMization was seen in Presiden Soekarno's speeches during the Demokrasi Terpimpin, and the holding of NASACOM course in 1965. Another reason for the NASACOM mission investigation was that it began with the Presiden Soekarno goals to balance the military force in confronting the PKI. In 1960, Presiden Soekarno began to emphasize the concept he made. NASACOM began to be spread, and Presiden Soekarno began to indoctrinate NASACOM in Indonesia's society, including the army. He pressed the importance of NASACOM concept to be understood and instilled in the lives of Indonesian people.
In the foreign policy, we tried to take one of the many policies that Presiden Soekarno made during his role. We will discuss the foreign policy when Indonesia withdraw from United Nations. Presiden Soekarno declared that Indonesia will withdraw from the United Nations if UN give Malaysia position in the Security Council. But the threat of Indonesia for withdrawal from UN didn't get a good response from the United Nations. And then on January 7, 1965, Malaysia was elected as a non-permanent member of Security Council, so that Indonesia took a decision to withdraw from United Nations membership. Indonesia, through the official letter of Foreign Minister Dr. Subandrio, January 20, 1965, in this letter, Presiden Soekarno said, Indonesia will withdraw from the organization if neo-colonialist Malaysia were seated in the Security Council, and for us, the problem of Malaysia within the United Nations was just a further proof of this international body being manipulated by colonial and neo-colonial powers. And Soekarno said, this is a great encouragement to the people of Asia, Africa, and Latin America fighting against the imperialism. So, in this foreign policy, it is, I think, not just because Indonesia and Malaysia have bad relations at this time, but from this foreign policy we can see how the decision was made by Presiden Soekarno because of ideology, which is anti-colonialism. Thank you.
Okay, on this occasion I will explain about who are the actors involved in foreign policy Soekarno, that is the exit of Indonesia from the United Nations. The first actor is President himself. According to Margaret G. Herman, there are three main types of decision-making units. There are predominant leader, single group, and multiple autonomous actors. And in this case of Indonesian exit from the United Nations, we see that one of the unit influence, there is a predominant leader. predominant leader is one of the main decision-making unit that the leader of a country which tends to be a dominant. This type of main decision-making unit is very much in accordance to Soekarno, who we know is that his character as the leader of Indonesian state has the charisma, so that he gets legitimacy from people to run the government and making his country policy, based on his own perspective on the condition of the Indonesian state and the international world at the time. Based on the decision-making unit is predominant leader which Presiden Soekarno. For this reason, it can be said that one of actor involved in this decision is Presiden Soekarno himself due to predominant factors of the leader. Second reason is Malaysia. One of the main reasons that Indonesia exit from United Nations was because Soekarno considered the formation of Malaysia as a Western colonialism project that would threaten the existence of newly independent Indonesia. Soekarno labeled Malaysia as puppet formed by England, a country that had colonialized the Dutch East Indies 1911 until 1916. Britain is considered to be using a new state on Malay Peninsula to tighten control and power. In other words, they want to continue the new style of colonialism based on Indonesia foreign policy bebas and active. Indonesia doesn't want its neighbor to become agents from a colonial and imperialist country.